Travis Clark is officially done. The man who built a digital empire on the backs of the faithful is watching his entire world go up in flames. This is not a rumor or a simple misunderstanding. The receipts are finally out, and they prove that the faith-based charisma was nothing more than a front for high-stakes corporate wealth extraction. The truth is that Travis Clark used the pulpit as a marketing platform to secure lucrative brand deals while his own ministry was drowning in debt. We have seen the contracts, and we have audited the payroll. What we found is a predatory business model designed to turn a church into a personal piggy bank. The meltdown is happening in real time, and there is nowhere left for him to hide. The downfall began when a secret forensic audit was leaked to the public. For years, Clark claimed that his luxury lifestyle was the result of hard work and external business ventures. He told his followers that his designer clothes and high-end sneakers were gifts or personal investments, but the documents prove otherwise. The truth is that Clark was leveraging his position as a spiritual leader to secure five-figure sponsorship deals that were never disclosed to his congregation. He was selling a lifestyle while preaching a message of sacrifice. The contrast between his public image and his private ledger is staggering. The audit shows that over $4.2 million moved through shell companies in just 18 months. But the most shocking part of the scandal is the brand deal architecture. Clark was not just an influencer, he was a master manipulator who used his ministry reach to demand higher rates from corporate partners. We have seen the signed contracts with major lifestyle brands. In one specific deal, Clark was paid $600,000 to feature specific apparel in his sermon videos. He did not tell his church that his Sunday morning outfit was a paid product placement. He was essentially a walking billboard for corporate interests while claiming to be a vessel for a higher power. The legal receipts show that these deals were often signed during ministry hours using church-funded staff. The internal emails reveal an even darker side to the operation. Clark and his inner circle referred to the congregation as a high-intent demographic. They were not looking to save souls, they were looking for customers. One email sent from Clark to a potential brand partner specifically mentions the high conversion rate of his followers. He promised the company that his audience was primed to trust whatever he recommended because of the spiritual bond they felt. This is the definition of a predatory business model. He was selling trust to the highest bidder, and while he was cashing these massive checks, his church was struggling to keep the lights on. The hero in this story is a former financial officer who refused to stay silent. This individual saw the books and knew that something was wrong. They realized that the ministry payroll was being neglected while Clark was buying another luxury vehicle. The whistleblower provided thousands of pages of internal documents that show exactly where the money went. We now have the evidence that proves the church funds were being commingled with Clark's personal brand income. This is a clear violation of nonprofit laws, and the legal consequences are going to be severe. The truth is that the hero risked everything to bring this fraud to light. The receipts show that Clark was also using a pay-to-pray model. He created exclusive digital tiers for his followers, where they could pay for direct access to his prayers and advice. But the audit proves that the money from these subscriptions went directly into his private account. None of it went toward the charitable work he promised. Instead, it was used to fund a lifestyle of excess that most of his followers could never imagine. The contract proves that Clark had zero intention of ever giving that money back to the community. He was building a kingdom for himself while his followers were making sacrifices to support him. The public incident that broke the dam happened during a live stream. Clark was seen wearing a watch that costs more than the average salary of his congregation. When a follower asked about the price, Clark laughed it off and said it was a blessing, but the reality was that the watch was a kickback from a luxury brand deal. This moment went viral and triggered a wave of questions that Clark could not answer. The mask started to slip, and the "it is just a blessing" excuse stopped working. People began to look at the numbers, and the numbers did not add up. The fallout was immediate. Within 48 hours of the audit going public, Clark lost over 60% of his brand partnerships. Companies like those in the high-end tech and fashion space did not want to be associated with a spiritual fraud. The brand backlash was a total disaster for his bank account. We have seen the termination letters. One major athletic brand cited a breach of ethics as the reason for pulling their $2 million contract. This was a massive blow to the villain, who thought he was untouchable. He tried to claim that he was being persecuted for his faith, but the evidence shows he was being prosecuted for his finances. The scene-by-scene breakdown of his apology video shows just how manipulative he really is. He stood in a dimly lit room and tried to look humble. He spoke about his mistakes, but he never mentioned the millions of dollars. He tried to frame the scandal as a spiritual attack, but the viewers were not buying it. The comments were flooded with demands for the receipts. People wanted to know why their donations were paying for his private flights. The video was a total failure, and it only made the situation worse. It proved that he was still trying to use his charisma to get out of trouble. But the legal battle is just getting started. Federal investigators have now taken an interest in the shell companies Clark used to hide his wealth extraction. The truth is that this goes far beyond a simple brand deal controversy. This is about systematic fraud and the exploitation of a non-profit status. The receipts show that Clark used church property to film his commercial content. He used church employees to manage his personal social media. Every part of his business was built on the resources of the ministry. This is why the downfall is so absolute. He built his house on sand, and the tide has finally come in. The witness statements from former employees paint a picture of a toxic environment. They describe a man who was obsessed with numbers and growth at any cost. One witness said that Clark would spend hours looking at his engagement metrics while ignoring the needs of his staff. He was more concerned with his follower count than the faith of his people. The employees were told to prioritize brand deals over ministry work. If a sponsor wanted a video on a Sunday morning, the church service was secondary. The receipts prove that the ministry was just a content studio for Clark's brand. The contract for his latest book deal is another piece of damning evidence. It shows that he received a 7-figure advance based on the guaranteed sales to his congregation. He was essentially forcing his followers to buy his book so he could hit the bestseller lists. He told them it was a spiritual tool, but the contract proves it was a wealth extraction tool. He was using his platform to manufacture a success that was not real. This is the ultimate betrayal of the trust his followers placed in him. He saw them as a revenue stream and nothing more. The truth is finally out about the real estate holdings as well. The audit revealed that Clark owns several properties under various names. None of these were disclosed to the church board. One of the homes was purchased with a loan that was backed by church assets. This is a direct violation of his fiduciary duty. The hero who brought this to light has provided the property deeds and the loan documents. The evidence is undeniable. Travis Clark was living like a billionaire while pretending to be a humble servant. The career meltdown is a direct result of his own deceit. But what happened next was even more shocking. Investigators found that Clark was using unalived church accounts to move funds. These were accounts for programs that had been shut down years ago, but were still receiving donations. The money was being funneled into his personal accounts for months. The receipts show that hundreds of thousands of dollars disappeared into these ghost accounts. This is a level of manipulation that is hard to wrap your head around. He was taking money from people who thought they were helping the poor, and he was using it to buy designer gear. The receipts also show a disturbing pattern of SAID or suppressed audits. For years, Clark blocked any attempt by the church board to see the full financial picture. He told them that they needed to have faith and that questioning the leader was a sign of spiritual weakness. He used fear and manipulation to keep his secrets safe. But the hero in this story was not afraid. They knew that the truth was the only thing that mattered. They documented every roadblock and every lie until they had enough evidence to go public. The current state of his career is a total wreck. His social media accounts are being deleted one by one. His books are being pulled from shelves. The ministry that was once the pride of the community is now a crime scene. The villain is the architect of his own destruction. He thought he was smarter than everyone else. He thought he could use faith as a shield for his greed. But the receipts do not lie. The contract proves the intent. The audit proves the fraud. Travis Clark is now facing a legal battle that will likely end with him losing everything. The fallout has been a wake-up call for the entire industry. Other influencers are now being audited as the public demands more transparency. The Christian influencer trap is being exposed for what it really is: